Well, welcome to Show Me the Money Rugby League TV. We've just had round one of the championship up to this evening's game featuring Featherstone and Keighley, which is of course at Cougar Park, and real exciting game that's going to take place there. So we haven't had the chance to watch every team in action, but we've had a chance to see pretty much 90% of the championship teams in action, and of course we did the championship preview last week, so thank you very much to everybody who watched that. And now we're basically going to be put on the spot and do our predictions for this coming season. And let me tell you, it is tough. It is tough. I'll be brutally honest. I can probably tell you now the top two and the bottom two with good conviction. But everything else in between, let me tell you, it's going to be helter-skelter. Any team can beat anyone in those next 10 positions, and I'm sure we're going to have a quick debate about where we're putting certain teams. But just to recap quickly, championship started on Saturday. Barrow 4, Toulouse 24. Yesterday, Odsal, Bradford 24, Whitehaven 8, Halifax 26, Sheffield 18, London 20, Batley 30. Craig Lingard already doing what Craig Lingard and the Batley Bulldogs do, their first win away at London since 1988.
Wow.
Swinton 6, Newcastle Thunder 18.
Surprising fact, isn't it? The Batley in London one. Sorry, Mick.
35 years, crazy. York 12, Widnes 19, and of course the game we're all going to tonight is Keighley against Featherstone, Luke Gale's debut. Okay, I'll start. I've got a top two of Toulouse and Featherstone. So Toulouse top, Featherstone second. There will be very, very, very little between Toulouse and Featherstone. I know a lot's been made about Toulouse and this seemingly paper-thin squad, but you speak to Sylvan Houlis, you speak to Steve McNamara, there's the dual reg agreement with Catalan Dragons, and when you look at Toulouse, they are the only full-time team in the championship in 2023. So when you're talking about, yes, a paper-thin squad, and just to reiterate, I think we're all on the same wavelength here. We're doing these predictions based on everybody being fully fit and looking at the current quality and calibre of the squads. Obviously, injuries, suspensions and transfers are going to take place throughout the season. It's commonplace, it always happens. So this is basically based on what we see right here, right now, as in fully fit squads. Yes, Toulouse are a little bit thin and a little bit light, but do not underestimate that agreement that they've got with the Catalan Dragons. And like we say, they are a full-time team, a full-time operation, and I think it showed on Saturday in their opening game against Barrow. What I will say is Toulouse are going to be formidable at home. I do not see them dropping many points at home, and as we've already seen, to go to Barrow and play as well as they did in round one, with very limited sort of pre-season game time, minutes in the legs, they're only going to get bigger and stronger. So that is based on why I've got Toulouse at the top. Featherstone goes without question. Sean Long, Leon Price have assembled a star-studded squad. They are going to be there or thereabouts. And don't be surprised if Featherstone do actually finish top, but I think there won't be as much of a gap as there were last season with Lee running away with it, and then Featherstone obviously having some defeats here and there. I think a couple of times they drew against Batley and they lost to Batley, so home and away. So I don't think there'll be that big gap between Lee and Featherstone like there was last year. I think it'll be a lot closer, but I've got Toulouse first, Featherstone second, and then this is where it gets really interesting, because if we're going to talk about who's going down, I've got Whitehaven and Swinton to go down, and that is purely based on not so much from yesterday, because Whitehaven against Bradford, Whitehaven got Bradford in the arm wrestle, and John Keighley, when I spoke to him after the game, he was a little bit deflated that that they'd lost by 24 points to 8, because for long periods in that game, as any Cumbrian team knows who plays Whitehaven, Workington or Barrow, they play with a very distinct style. And when you get a referee that allows the laying on and not a fast ruck, you get dragged down into that sort of war of attrition down the middle. And Jamie Duran with his place kicking, turning Bradford around on a number of occasions. But again, based on what I've seen and what I know, and obviously Whitehaven losing a lot of key players. I have them in that bottom two. Prove me wrong. And Swinton, the new boys on the block, they've come straight back up. And, by and large, from what I've managed to see of that game against Newcastle yesterday, they've pushed Newcastle all the way, and it's only really the last 10 minutes where maybe fitness was a factor. And again, some of Newcastle's full-time players have took a bit of a stranglehold on proceedings. So there we go. I've got Whitehaven, Swinton in the bottom two. I've got Toulouse top, Featherstone second, and then we've just got 10 clubs.
Why don't we go through our top two and our bottom two?
You've left us out there pretty. You've had 10 minutes on the.
Sorry.
We do have opinions and
let's do
no. Right, I've done my top two and my bottom two.
Yeah, we'll do the same. Then we'll get stuck into the middle.
Featherstone second, bottom two, Whitehaven, Swinton, either way.
Joe?
Jim, you go, Jim.
Well,
I've got a bit of controversy.
Right.
I'm chucking there.
Well, I'm the same, and I think agree with everything you've said. But I am gonna stick with Fev to Pip to lose. But I'm with you. I think it's going to be very tight, and it could be either way. I think if Toulouse's home form is faultless, which it could easily be, that'll be it. And it could very well come down to their head-to-heads. So, simple as that. And with you, I think they are definitely the top two. There'll be some chasing, and I'd like to think that the gap between second and third won't be that significant. But, take your pick on those two. Toulouse probably have answered quite a few questions, certainly the last week or so building up to that first game with the number of registered players and supposed issues off the field. But going to that tough away game and doing what they did, I think, everyone's probably right. No, they are going to be really good, like we initially thought. And I'm with you. Same two at the bottom. I've actually got Swinton and Whitehaven down there. I've actually gone for Whitehaven to come rock bottom, but only because I've had to pick one, and I don't think there's much in it. A bit of me thinks that Whitehaven's home form might actually be the thing that gets them to not come at the bottom, and they can make it really difficult for some teams going there. That they're easy to underrate them, but they're tough at home, aren't they? Swinton, probably, I don't think that's a scary away day for a lot of the teams, but they have got probably some help from a Super League team, and that's what's going to really, really sort out the bottom end as well as the top end, I think. So same top two, same bottom two.
Lads, I've got to go a bit different then, haven't I? And I
Not
think,
really. You just go what you genuinely
feel. He already is doing.
I am going to that.
All right.
My answer is I am going to go different. I think, lads, whenever this goes out, whether it goes out at some point in the week, I think I'm going to give a prediction, and this is before tonight's game. And I think the Keighley Cougars win this game tonight, lads.
Okay.
And I think my top two of the league are Toulouse, Keighley Cougars. I don't think we've seen a player of Luke Gale's calibre in the Championship for quite a few years. We've definitely have some very good players, but Luke Gale, former Super League, Man of Steel, thank you. Former Super League Man of Steel. I think when he played at Hull, he had some good games. Obviously, made some mistakes, didn't he, with the Johnny Lomax kick and stuff like that. And he admittedly had a tough year, didn't he? If you've seen the Super League show, Super League stories with Gale and I believe Craig Harrison in it as well. So
stylish cameo role.
Yeah. Craig Harrison. No, I'm calling you Craig Harrison. But yeah, and I think Keighley, they play an exciting style of rugby. Some of the stuff I've been hearing, they're ready to go. And I've got them in second place behind Toulouse, and I've got Featherstone Rovers in third place. My bottom two, lads. Can I give a bottom three?
No, we're sticking with top two and bottom two for now.
You've put a third place team in, Joe. We're only doing top and two.
Yeah, because I've got a top three and I've got a bottom three, and I struggle to really differentiate.
Well, we all are struggling, but we've got to call it.
Like you said, I think sadly, like I said, Ash, I love you, but I think Whitehaven, it could be a tough year unless they get a few names in. Swinton, I think Newcastle, what a big win at the weekend, probably gets Newcastle going, and that was a close game. There was a random stream of it online actually, so I've watched that game. A lot of mistakes, a lot of up and down bits, but I think Swinton, to survive, need to probably get another 2 or 3 players. A bit more strike, I'd say. They've got some tough players. They can tackle well, defend well, but they probably just need a bit more strike in attack. So if they do that, who knows? But yeah, I've got Whitehaven, Swinton, and then I'm chucking. You've just told me not to do this, but I'm going to chuck. I'm still not convinced. This will get me in a bit of trouble, but I'm still not fully convinced yet with London's full squad. I don't think they've signed enough. There's the Aussies. I don't know. And they obviously lost against Batley. Batley are a bit weaker than last year, as we covered. Well, as we presume they might be a bit weaker. They might end up doing what they did last year, but that'd be tough to do again, to be fair. But if they do, I think a bit weaker. They've got a few injuries. I think Batley going into the season, so they've not got their full squad. And the Batley, like you said, figured out a way to win away from home at London, travelling. And I think, yeah, I'm a bit worried about London, but yeah, we'll see. So I think I've got them 3 all interchangeable at the moment, lads.
Well, as we said, Joe, when you go, if obviously your top 2 is Toulouse and Keighley, me and Jimmy have gone for very similar with Toulouse and Featherstone. Very, very difficult to call 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 10th, 11th, 12th.
Yeah. Well, why don't we give the rest of our playoff spots then?
Just pause it, Sam.
Do you want to do this back?
Yeah.
Right, because you said 5 minutes, didn't you?
Yeah, we thought we'd just get cracking in case.
Right. I'll see what. Give me a shout.
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
All right. Should I go first for the next ones? And
we're doing top 6 playoff spots. Yeah. Let's have it.
So just bring it because
Yeah.
All right.
Should I start off then?
No, he's saying, okay, we're going to go through our top 6. Yeah.
Well, now we've done our top 2, bottom 2. Joe's done a top 3, a bottom 3. Jimmy, over to you for your top 6. Obviously, you've got Featherstone and Toulouse, or Toulouse and Featherstone. Who are the other 4 joining Featherstone and Toulouse?
Well, I think we all agree, and I think everyone I've spoke to who's a player involved or a coach involved, it's so hard to call it. I think, as I've said since summer, I think it's got to be the best quality and most competitive championship we've seen for a long time. I genuinely believe there's 10 teams who can get in the playoffs. And, so if we knock off Fev and Toulouse, who I think are nailed on, there's 8 teams who I think definitely can get in the playoffs, and I've only got 4 spots left. And it's tricky, isn't it? We all agree it's very tricky. So, this is what I'm going for. And I'll do it in order. And it's based really on trying to find a reason, really, to leave someone out. Because there's so many reasons and positives about every club that I'm looking for, where is the chink in their armour? And for me, it's coming down to the main factor probably being squad depth and which teams I think will be able to handle the inevitable injuries that will come, but also factoring in which of those teams are getting support from a Super League club, i.e. the Bradford Bulls, where they might have injuries, but they might also then be able to make a quick phone call to Leeds and get a couple in to bolster them. So, I've also factored in the coaching. Someone made a good comment on our prediction show. We probably didn't have a chance to go in too depth about what we think about the coaching and what have you. So here we go. Without further ado, in 3rd place, I have put Halifax, which is no massive call, really. I think they're probably 3rd favourites at the bookies. I was there to watch them yesterday and they started off as you'd expect. I think one of their main advantages is their continuity. They've retained most of their players. Some of the other teams we'll talk about have obviously had quite a bit of change going on. So I predict a solid start from them. Making the most of that advantage playing against newer look teams. And as we talked about before, I think that left edge of Mason and Walmsley, if Key stays fit, I said yesterday to someone, I think there could be 40 tries between Mason and Walmsley alone. You could be talking about 2 of the top 5 scorers in the league, both on the same team. So yeah, they've took 3rd spot. 4th, the Sheffield Eagles. They had a good run yesterday. It's no secret, but I have a soft spot for them. I think everything they've done off the field this close season to add quality. I think when we went through it, they've added 12 and they've lost 2 or 3. So they have made a much bigger, stronger squad. Serious competition for places. But I think that they're now ready to make a serious challenge for the playoffs and even that top 4. So there's definitely a little bit of bias there. But again, I've been nitpicking about who to put where, because I do think there's next to nothing in it. So they've got the 4th spot. 5th is my other new addition to the top 6, if you like, from those who were in it last year, and that's Widnes Vikings. For similar reasons, I thought they got straight stuck into recruitment early with John Keir's early arrival. That allowed him to get a lot of the players he wanted. Tom Gilmore being the standout of that, to have that calming influence, taking them around. If he stays injury free, I think he'll be what they needed, as well as a few others. I've mentioned Lewis Hatton, I think potentially being one of the standout players throughout the whole league. Even Keighley going in there, that experience and leadership. The 4G at home is always an advantage. Same with Sheffield. That's another little factor I've put in, that being on that 4G week and week, a bit like Batley with the Hill being such an advantage for them. And I think they'll play a fast brand of rugby to both teams to capitalise on that. So I've put them in 5th. And then the hardest spot was basically how do then, we're talking about teams, Bradford, York, Keighley, Batley, Barrow, we were all in the playoffs last year, except for Keighley, the new recruits, and Bradford actually.
Bradford weren't in the playoffs.
But, they're certainly at the bookies, they're all expected to be in the playoffs. All of those teams, Bradford, York, Keighley and Batley, at the bookies are in the top 6. I'm leaving them all out but one. And it's Bradford Bulls who've got my last spot. And I'm putting that down to, more than anything, obviously all the signings. Losing Jack Walker yesterday, we don't know how long for. That made me wobble a bit this morning, because I think we've seen in pre-season he was going to be, and hopefully still will be, we're hoping he don't miss much, a key part of their attack. But I also think moving Tom Holmes there, and they've got the options at hooker so they can get Lily back in the arse, and all the things we've discussed. And the biggest factor of all, getting that help from Leeds. And if Leeds don't have a lot of injury problems, they're going to have so much quality. Players like Sam Walters, who I didn't think made an amazing impact for Bradford last year, but I think we're looking at a different player already from what I've seen in pre-season of him. So I think that Bradford will get the most additional support from outside the squad, and I think that'll get him in the playoffs. Would I be surprised if I see him in 3rd or 4th? No, same with the others. And I've left out York, huge soft spot for York, and it's nothing against the players there, because I think their first 17 is as good as anybody's. I really do. Nothing against Hendo. I think he's gone in there and he's lit the place up with a slight change of approach. What I've seen of him in the friendly was against Batley. They killed Batley. They're exciting. I think they're going to be a great team to watch. The only reason I've left them out is squad depth. They are the thinnest on the ground, along with Batley, out of all of the teams I've mentioned so far. So again, I wouldn't be surprised if we get in there, but I'm having to leave them out purely on squad depth.
And they lost Cunningham yesterday as well. So
just to add to it. And even losing Brendan a couple of weeks ago, they've got Jamie Ellis to help. But so yeah, that's the reason they've gone. And then Batley, squad depth, and losing Gilmore.
No, we've done the top 6, and then we'll do the.
Oh, sorry, I was just justifying why I've left
sorry.
It. So yeah, I'll do it
then
quickly.
We'll go over
yeah, but I've left Batley and Barrow out because of squad depth.
Yeah.
And I just think they're going to find it a lot harder than last year because I think there's so many stronger teams. And Keighley have missed out, and I think I'm the only one who's not got them in the top 6. But that is purely because looking for potential chinks, it's all going to be so new for him.
Joe's got to beat Featherstone tonight.
I know, and I love it because this is how good the champ is this year. I'm not saying to Joe, you're mad, because I think it could happen. Yeah. But I've had to look at why I think, and purely because they're going to be on a learning curve from day one, whereas other teams have got that experience. And I know they've made great additions. You know, even Keighley coming from Super League, he's still got a lot of championship experience. So they've got players who know what they're doing there. But I've had to look for a chink. I love Reece Lovegrove. I love everything the club are doing on and off the field. But I think that it's new to him. Yeah, and I think they went through last year so comfortably, and all their players used to winning and winning and winning. If they have, like everyone will, that tough period where there's a few injuries, it wouldn't surprise me if they do all right, but I'm just thinking, well, maybe that might be where they get caught and they might lose 2 or 3 on the bounce. Yeah. And again, I wouldn't be surprised if they're up there, but I've had to leave them out, so...
Remember this.
Over to you.
Make the comments when they're in the top 3. I'll be.
I'll dock my hat to you and say you call that one.
My top 6. Obviously, I give a top 3 of Toulouse. No, not what I said. Toulouse, Keighley, Featherstone. Top 3, like I said, all I think interchangeable. Again, I think. Sorry, Mick. Thomas Doyle. Luke Gale. I just don't think we've seen a player of Gailey's calibre. And say what you think about him last year. He's there's not another player that's done near as much as Keighley has in his career and been at the standard, leading a league leaders team. Getting Man of Steel, and he's not that many years removed from that. At Leeds, he won the Challenge Cup. He had one of the best semi-final games I think we've all seen, and that was 2 years ago. Obviously, ended a bit rough at Leeds at the end, and then obviously, like I said, he's had one bad year at Hull. He's had one bad year in the last 10. So I think, I don't think we've seen a player. I think he's going to explode. Thomas Doyle, like I said, they've got a few great signings mixed with a good squad. So I've got my 4th place now. I think my 4th place goes to the Halifax Panthers for reasons you listed, Jim. Good squad depth. Fairly similar championship throughout the years. It seems like a big thing of a team's success is not having a massive squad turnover, having that continuity, because championship there's that much squad turnover year on year on year that I think squad continuity is that much more important in the champ than many other leagues in sport. Obviously, as seen with Batley last year, who pretty much have the same team year on year. So I've got Halifax Panthers as my 4th place team. My 5th place team. This is where it gets interesting. I have gone with the Bradford Bulls in 5th place. Like you said, hopefully Wacker's injuries minimal, and he's back within a month or 2. He's back flying. Like I said, they've got some great squad depth. They've got leads to, like you said, if they get injuries, it's not the end of the world compared to some other teams. Just reiterating I think Mark seems to have got them all buzzing. They all seem happy. They all seem like they're raring to go and forget about last year, essentially. Yeah. So I've got them in 5th place. And then in 6th place, this is the big one, isn't it? This is the big one. I'm thinking of teams. Sheffield, I've got around there. Obviously, you've got to look at York. You've got to look at Widnes. You've got to look at Batley on last year. There's many teams. I probably missed a few out there. Barrow, yeah. My 6th place, Mick. I'm getting nervous.
Newcastle in there.
No, I can't yet. But at my 6th place, I am chucking in. I've got to go the Widnes Vikings as my 6th place team. I think, like I said, John Keir knows how to do well in the champ. Didn't do that well last year, but he's got his squad in. They've spent a bit of money. I'll put that on them. They've spent a bit of money, so they should be in the top 6, and I think they'll scrape that 6th position. Sorry for Sheffield, sorry for Barrow, sorry for York, but I just think, sadly, I think the Widnes Vikings make that 6th position.
Right.
Wow.
Big mate.
Well, similar to you, Jimmy. Again, Halifax for mine. I've got them 3rd. And again, I wouldn't be surprised either way, come rain or shine. I don't think there's that much of a gap, actually, compared to last season where Lee was running away with it. I don't think you're going to have a Toulouse running away with it or a Featherstone running away with it. So don't be surprised if it's very tight at the top between your Toulouse, your Featherstones, and Halifax, who I've got in 3rd. Where I do think Halifax might just have a little bit of a worry is squad depth. I know there's a few sort of financial constraints on the club. I did a recent interview with Dave Gratian, and he was basically explaining to me, the new board have come in, and it's almost like hitting a reset button again. Halifax have to stabilise the financial accounts. When they do come out, they will show losses on last year. Effectively, if you listen to the interview or you haven't listened to it, what Dave's saying is that the previous board, they've invested in the squad, but the crowds didn't materialise, so there has been a bit of a funding shortfall. That's why Halifax haven't got that depth, in my opinion. When I spoke to Simon Grix at the season launch, he says he's going to be using Huddersfield.
Yeah.
He's going to be looking at Huddersfield. So I know we're talking about Bradford and Leeds, but let's be under no illusions. Widnes have got dual reg partnership. Halifax are going to potentially look at Huddersfield, as they have done on a number of years when they've had like Sam Hewitt there, and I think they had Oliver Roberts for a couple of games.
Yeah, they did, once
upon a time. But fundamentally, Halifax 3rd, down to that continuity, minimal changes. Joe Keys, Lewis Schufre, you keep Joe Keys fit. Spoke to Joe at the season launch. He's over the moon how he's feeling. We know he was plagued at London with injuries. We know his time at Bradford was really plagued with injuries, and we never saw the best of Joe Keys. We only saw flashes of brilliance. But I think fundamentally, as I said on the season preview we did, that Jake Mays and Lachlan Walmsley partnership on that wing. Already Mays, he's effectively won the game against Sheffield yesterday with his 2 tries, and his try a couple of minutes from the end.
Very cool. Full length effort.
Yeah, that rubber stamped. And this is round 1 when the pitches are heavy and they're like glue.
It was nice, to be fair, yesterday.
No, but even still, Jim, even still, round 1, the pitches aren't as soft and firm as you want them to be when it gets later on.
Yeah.
So, look, I've got Halifax 3rd, and I don't think very few people will disagree with that. This is where it gets interesting for mine.
Yeah.
You've got Bradford, you've got Sheffield, you've got Widnes, you've got York, you've got Batley, you've got Barrow, you've got Keighley. You've got a big cluster of clubs who are battling out for the final 3. I've put Bradford in 4th. That's the goal from Mark Dunning and Jason Hurst, the CEO. They want that home playoff tie. They want to tick that IMG box for competitiveness on the field. I think if Bradford do finish 4th, it would be a successful season because they'll have reached the goals. How do I think Bradford are going to get there? And I say this now, obviously, we don't know how bad the hamstring tear is on Jack Walker. We know he's going for some scans today, I'm led to believe. Yeah. So we should know close of play Monday evening just how bad it is. Let me tell you, it was quite emotional seeing Jack after that game yesterday. He was in tears. I hope he don't mind me saying that, but it clearly gets to him, and it probably puts into perspective. Players are human beings and they've got emotions and feelings, and for him to only last 4 minutes before the hamstring's gone, it's heartbreaking. But Tom Holmes moved to fullback, and I think that's ultimately Bradford's strong point, is that they have that utility.
Flanagan Jr. I thought Flanagan Jr. come on for Jack.
No, Tom straight into
Flanagan,
5 minutes.
George Flanagan Jr. didn't play. He played against Workington on Saturday.
I've read the wrong thing.
So Tom Holmes, in my opinion,
senior.
In my opinion, Tom Holmes, it was. I mean,
man at match.
Yes, no questions about mine. I don't want to turn. I just want to quickly Bradford 4th due to the utility value.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we're going to see much coming from Leeds. I look at what Bradford have currently got, and
you've got depth already. You don't need it. You don't need it if people stay fit.
I know the highlights haven't gone out, but there's literally 120 seconds, and Kieran Gill, Bradford scored 2 length of the field tries, and it's that lovely sharp inside pass support play. I don't know the codes. I mean, it's very. Mark Dunning's gone down this sort of NFL sorry, I hope Mark don't mind me saying this, but Mark Dunning's gone down this sort of NFL style playbook where there's all these different phrases and codes which the players obviously know off the top of their head. And to see those plays come to life yesterday, I'm sure other clubs do something similar.
All of them, yeah.
But to see it come off like that in that 120 seconds, 2 minutes, bang, bang, 2 tries. Again, Odsel spoke to the players and said the pitch was good, but a little bit like glue.
Better than last year.
Better than last year, but fundamentally, utility value.
Yeah,
they're very strength. They've got a lot of strength in a number of positions, and there's still a little bit of money to spend to strengthen. This is again. Either of these clubs can
we all agree on that.
Change,
we all agree on that. We're just
we're all covering.
I'm down to 5th.
We're just covering our back in case it doesn't work out.
No, I'm going to stand by this.
It's that close. I think there'll be nout in him. There'll be nout in him from. There could be two. There'll be teams on the same points. I think it's going to be that close.
100%.
All the way through
and
that
the
top
fact
10.
that Widnes beat York yesterday, that could be the difference between Widnes being in and York not being in. I've not got Widnes and York in the top 6, but I've got Sheffield in 5th.
Right. Nice.
What I'm going to say on that is, I watched their game against Hull FC. I know it's pre-season, you can't really gauge how Hull FC were terrible.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Tony Smith, disgusted. That was a very poor performance. But again, Jimmy, they've got that strength in depth. They've significantly strengthened.
Yeah.
They've got, in my opinion, one of the best forward packs in the Championship of Sheffield in terms of getting that go forward and generating the metres for your halves and your spine to play.
Yeah.
And I weren't at the Shea yesterday, but looks like they've rolled the sleeves up and they've had a real good dig against a top 3 Championship team in Halifax. So
it was.
For me, the game was in the balance right up until Jake Mason's length of the field try 2 minutes from time.
Just very quickly on that, the game was lost early on. They went 16-0 up. Dougie gets 10 minutes, and it's like, oh no, what an anticlimax. But they're stuck in it. They nicked a try before half time. Then we had a chance to win it with a minute or 2 left, and Corey's passes intercepted him, and it's a flattering result for Fax. So
I've got Sheffield in 5th. This is tough because you've got Keighley, you've got Widnes, you've got York, you've got Barrow, you've got Batley. Again,
we're writing them off here, but we're well aware it's at our peril because Lingard, he does such a good job, and I never like writing off.
Amazing.
I said it in the preview. I'm brave to write off, one of my favourite players to ever play Championship rugby in Dave Manning, because he can lift a team through games which are in the balance, but we're having to make the call. So.
Well, look, I've got to put myself on the spot. I've got Toulouse in 1st, Featherstone 2nd, Halifax 3rd, Bradford 4th, Sheffield 5th. I've got the Keighley Cougars in 6th. And I just think when you speak to Rhys Lovegrove and you hear about the statistics, he's all about gathering that information.
Yeah.
How many tries are scored 20 metres out from the line? What happens statistically at the Championship? It's going to adapt the Keighley Cougars style of play. Look, they have invested heavily. The owners love them to bits. We had the season launch at Keighley last Thursday. It was amazing. You get a real sense something's building at Keighley, both on and off the field. And I just think I've got a couple of reservations about Keighley in that some of the players who've joined them on that journey from League One, they're going to find it tough at Championship level. But where they will be compensated is the fact that they have brought in your likes of your Luke Gales.
Crooks here.
Yeah, I mean, Ben Crooks from Hull KI, that's a great signing and a great capture. He could have gone to Featherstone, I'm led to believe, but, he's ended up at Keighley. And that game again tonight is going to be a huge barometer for mine.
Yeah.
Listen, who knows? If Joe's right and he thinks Keighley win that, if Keighley win that, then that's it. You know, I'll be thinking.
Well, I'll be scrambling to change my prediction.
Well, you can't.
It's locked in now.
You've locked him in, But listen, Keighley 6th. I'm sure Reece would probably take that. I'm sure the owners would take that. Getting in the playoffs.
I'm definitely building
because
them up.
one thing I'll say about Keighley, and Reece, you know, Reece is very smart. He's 35, 36, and he's learning a lot. Very close with Rowan and Mark Dunning and that Chev Walker and that kind of Bradford 2015, 2016 bubble, which obviously Rowan was, you know, the chief orchestrator of. But, you know, one thing I'll say about Keighley is, in the past, when teams come up from League One, it's all about stabilisation, stability. Don't go back down. Well, Keighley have ripped that script up. You know, they are wanting to be in the playoffs and give themselves a realistic chance of promotion.
It's like we said on the preview, isn't it? You know, we're all agreed with that. And to put it in another way, if Keighley had come up for last year and were involved in last year's championship, I'd definitely have him in my top 6 without a blink. It just shows how good it is this year and how close it will be. And I think if they get in the playoffs, out of everything that could happen in the year, no matter who wins it, I think Keighley getting in the playoffs for me would be the biggest achievement that any team could do. Because if any team we've mentioned gets in the playoffs, you know, between us, we're all half expecting it.
Yeah.
If Fev win it, no surprise. If Toulouse win it, no surprise. Unless someone else comes top, I think Keighley getting in the playoffs will be a bit. And I know they've spent money, but I still think it's going to be really hard. So, yeah, and you know, I'll be rooting for him as well as others, but
don't be surprised. And I'm not trying to sit on the fence here, but I will not be shocked if that's all wrong and you do have a witness of York or Barrow continue what they did last year. But fundamentally, as we said on the preview, Barrow battling for mine. They've just lost too many key players.
Yeah.
York, that threadbare squad. I'm sure Andrew Henderson, he says he watches the show, he likes the debate.
Yeah.
I know, listen, I know you've had a defeat, but like you say, injuries are going to bite. You lost James Cunningham yesterday to injury.
And they lost Attingana before that game.
Yeah.
You know, so such a tough start for him. I've
not seen that. That's bad of me. Attingano's...
Atta got injured in the friendly against Batley, so he's missed out. So they're up against it already. They're up against it going into the season. A couple of weeks, I think. But, you know, we're talking about trying to find things that we're worried about teams at some point in the season. You know, because York are up against it already, and, you know, Endo's only had an X amount of time to work with someone else's squad effectively. You know, that's why we're all hesitantly leaving him out, because they are up against it straight away.
So there we go. Toulouse, Featherstone, Halifax, Bradford, Sheffield, Keighley. You've got...
Sorry, I've got Toulouse, Keighley, Featherstone. I'm trying to remember exactly what I said.
Featherstone third.
Yeah, Halifax fourth. Fifth, I had the Bradford Bulls, and sixth, I had the Widnes Vikings.
Yeah. And I've got Fev, Toulouse, Halifax, Sheffield, Widnes, Bulls.
Wow, there we go.
Rest of the league.
There we go. We don't need to do rest of the league because...
we're not?
No, I'm just saying, I've got... Well...
I mean, we've all got Batley, Barrow, London and Newcastle in there, haven't we?
Yeah.
Basically, we've all got the same four to be.
I mean, below Keighley, I've got Widnes, York, Barrow, Batley, and then I've got like my bottom four: London, Newcastle, Whitehaven, Swinton.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. Let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
Do you agree? Do you disagree? Who are your top 6? Who are your bottom 2? And we'll go through some comments next week. So yeah.
And I think we've judging off what people have put on already on the previews, that understandably we're probably going to get the most stick for Batley, because it is so brave to write them off. But we've given our reasons why we've had to.
Luke Cooley, Tom Gilmore, 2 huge losses for Batley for mine.
Yeah, and that's it, isn't it? So yeah, it'll be... I'm sure everyone agrees, though, you know. Like,
I'm shocked Joe putting Keighley second. I'm like...
That's the biggest call any of us have made, I suppose, isn't it? But
I don't like being boring, and I think if... Like you said, Reece might message me going, why have you said that? Don't have expectations too high, but I do personally have high expectations from, like you said, you've got Thomas Doyle, Luke Gale. I can't speak him up enough. You've got Ben Crooks, like you said, in there, a Super
Tom
League
Doyle,
player.
I'll stamp his passport now.
Yeah.
He will be a Super League player.
And they're the biggest. Now Toulouse have put any doubters to bed, albeit in one performance.
I never saw the doubt on Toulouse.
No,
Jimmy.
but lots did.
A lot of people saw that squad and were like,
they're panicking.
but what they don't realise is they're the only full-time team.
I know.
Yeah, they've got the dual reg with Catalans.
I know.
I'm telling you now.
No, but
that's why
I'm just saying.
Toulouse I've put at the top of the pile.
Yeah, and some people did. I think what I'm saying is Keighley are the most unknown quantity. So it's it's understandable with that call.
And not for me.
It's it is because we just don't know what they're going to do. Everyone else, they've tweaked a bit, they've strengthened a bit, but
no, Keighley are the enigma for mine.
And it'll be great.
And Sheffield to a lesser
great
extent with what they've done.
Yeah.
Jim, you've talked up Sheffield. I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't know. Like you said, Sheffield are my big ones. They could be top 4, or they could be. They're not, I don't think they're going to be bottom 4, but I mean they could be out of the playoffs. I literally don't know where I stand with Sheffield. Barrow again. They could be anywhere. I wouldn't be surprised if they were top 6. York, like I said, that squad depth. I didn't know. I apologise. That's bad of me, but I didn't know Atto was out for a couple.
Injuries are biting at York.
Yeah, so that's just going to be tough. I think they'll be happy to just get, if they finish the season strong. I think that'd be a win for them because if they, like you said, they've got a lot of injuries. They're lacking a bit of squad depth.
Yeah, a late charge for the playoffs.
Late charge.
Once Big Pauly's back, and that'll be.
And then, like you said, Newcastle. I think. Obviously beating Swinton. I watched the game. There's a link online on YouTube for the game. It was interesting, and I think they can pull off some wins. Yeah, it's going to be like I said, it's just an extremely interesting season.
The only prediction I'm confident on is that it is definitely going to be the best championship we've seen for a long time. It's going to be the closest championship we've seen for a long time. Not only in those bottom 2, 3, 4. But then those 8 teams who, for me, are fighting. And even Halifax, Sheffield showed yesterday, they've not to be scared of with them. And we see what Keighley do tonight. I think that 8, and I'm leaving Fev until he's out, but that 8, it's all on. It's all on.
Well, there you go. Championship predictions for the season. We'll review them at the end of the year. See who was closest, who was way out. But yeah, let us know in the comments who you think your top 2, your top 4, top 6, and who's going to be going to League One through the trapdoor at the end of the year. Don't forget, we will be doing a League One preview show next week, so ahead of the League One season starting up, we will go through those teams who will potentially be winning promotion to the Championship in 24.